how to hear the voice of God clearly. Now, God is always speaking. The reason why we can't hear him is because we are being distracted. We are lacking clarity. So we can't hear the voice of God. If your spirit is in turmoil, your mind is in turmoil, your life is in turmoil, how are you going to hear the voice of God? You're not. Has God stopped speaking? No. God is always speaking. He is always speaking continuously, but we have to tap in to his voice. Now, if you're being distracted by the enemy, you're being distracted by what you're doing in life. You know, you go to work and you got to go shopping, you got to look after the children, you've got relationships and all this sort of stuff here. If you are distracted by all of those things, social media, lots of online stuff, if you're being distracted by all of that stuff, how on earth are you going to be able to hear God's voice? See, people can be talking all the time, but if you're being distracted, you can't hear no one talking. You can't hear people's voice. If I'm watching a film, or if somebody's gaming, for example, they're playing a game, people are talking in the background, they can't hear them. Why? Because they're focused on a game. They're focused on something else. Same with us. The enemy tried to distract us so that we can't tune into the voice of God. Distracts us with fear, distracts us with panic, distracts us with, oh, you know, you haven't got the answers and you can't do this and you can't do that. And all these different things we get distracted by. Why? Because the enemy knows if we're distracted, we won't be able to hear the voice of God, even though God is speaking 24/7. God is always speaking, never stops. You've got the Holy Spirit inside of you. So God is always speaking, but what are you tuning into? Are you tuning into the voice of God, or have you been distracted and you're tuning into the world? When you're tuning into the world, you're going to lack clarity. You won't hear the voice of God. So what we have to do is unplug ourselves from the distraction, unplug ourselves from the world, and let's start to plug ourselves into the word, plug ourselves into the presence of God. And when you do that, you'll hear God's voice clearly. And you'll think, hold on, God's been talking all the time. Yes, he's always been speaking, but we haven't always been listening. Why? Because we've been distracted.